This is the Texas STAAR 2013 geometry test, and this is question number 10. It says, line segment PQ is shown on the coordinate grid below. The coordinates of P and Q are integers. Point XY lies on the perpendicular bisector of PQ. What is the value of X? Record your answer and fill in the bubbles on your answer document. Okay, so this is not a multiple choice question like most of the other ones. Let's take a moment to understand the problem. We got a nice picture there, so we don't have to bother graphing it ourselves. We can see that line segment PQ, but then it says point XY lies on the perpendicular bisector. So we have to remember what a perpendicular bisector is. Well, it bisects the segment, so it cuts it in half. So it's going to go through it about here, and then it's going to be perpendicular to that line PQ. So it's going to look something like that. And then we have a point XY, some unknown point, but we know it's somewhere on that perpendicular bisector. So it could be here, it could be here, could be here, anywhere on that line. And then it says, what is the value of X? Okay, I think I understand the problem, so I'll cross that off on the bottom there. What's my plan going to be? Okay, well, let me look at those coordinates on the perpendicular bisector and see if I can find the value of X. So, first thing I notice is that since PQ is horizontal, my perpendicular bisector is vertical. And one thing I know about a vertical line is that every point on that line has the same X coordinate. So if we can just figure out what X coordinate that line is going through, then we know the value of X. And we know the perpendicular bisector goes to the midpoint, so we could kind of just eyeball the midpoint. How long is PQ? PQ is 3 units long. 1, 2, 3. So the midpoint is going to be half of 3 is 1 1/2. It's going to be 1 1/2 units away from P and 1 1/2 units away from Q. So P is at -4. So what's -4 plus 1 1/2? Well, that's -2 1/2. Or we can just look and see where does that line meet the x-axis. It looks at about -2 1/2. Or we could use the midpoint formula. We could do -4 plus -1 because the x value of P is -4 and the x value of Q is -1. And divide that by 2. So that would be -5 divided by 2. And that's -2 1/2. Okay, so we did it. We found that x value a couple different ways. It's -2 1/2. You know, we kind of checked it already by using the midpoint formula as well as just looking at our graph. So there we have it. -2.5 is what we would fill in for our answer.